The sun was setting behind the old trees. The wind was quiet. Only the sound of dry leaves moving could be heard. In the corner of a lonely graveyard, one man sat beside a grave silent, still like a statue. He came here every day. His name was Rahim, a quiet man in his late 40s, with tired eyes and a heart that carried too much pain. He brought flowers every time, fresh ones, not cheap plastic ones like others. He cleaned the grave gently, as if the person inside could feel everything. And then he talked. "Yes, I'm here again," Rahim whispered, his voice low, broken. "Did you miss me today? I brought your favorite flowers. Remember Jasmine?" He sat there, cross-legged, facing the gravestone like it was a real person. He smiled a little, but there were tears in his eyes. He laughed sometimes too, like he was sharing an inside joke, but what shocked people the most was this. "Sometimes," he shouted, "I trusted you." He cried once, months ago. "You promised? You said we'll never hurt each other." People who walked past the graveyard tried not to look. Some said he was mad. Others said he was heartbroken. But no one dared to ask him why he came, until that one rainy evening. A stranger in a black coat was passing by the graveyard. His car had broken down nearby, and he was looking for shelter. He saw Rahim sitting under a tree near the same grave, soaked in rain, still talking. The stranger was about to walk away, but then he heard Rahim say something that made him stop. "I forgive you, even after what you did to me." The stranger's feet froze, his heart beat faster. He looked at the grave, trying to read the name on the stone, but it was old and covered with moss. He didn't speak. He just stood there in the shadows, watching Rahim cry, his hands holding the cold stone like it was a warm hand. Who was this man and who was buried there? Why forgive a dead person? The next morning Rahim returned again, like always. The sun was shining this time. Birds were singing. He sat in the same spot, his back straight, his hands resting in his lap. This time, the stranger was waiting. He stepped forward slowly. Rahim looked up, surprised. The stranger gave a soft smile. "I saw you here yesterday," the stranger said. "Gently, you were talking to the grave." Rahim nodded, calm and quiet. "May I ask, who is buried here?" Rahim looked at the grave, then at the man, and gave a long sigh. "Someone I loved, and someone I hated." The stranger frowned, confused. Rahim continued, "We grew up together. We were more than brothers. We shared everything: dreams, food, secrets. But one day, he broke something that can never be fixed." The stranger sat beside him, quietly. There was something about this place, this story, that pulled him in. Rahim smiled sadly. "People think graves are just stone and dust, but some graves carry voices. I hear his voice sometimes. I don't know if it's real or just my own guilt talking." He leaned forward, touching the name on the stone gently. "He saved my life once, and then, he destroyed it too." The stranger was silent. He didn't ask questions. He only listened. Something about Rahim's voice felt familiar. "I come here because I never got the chance to say goodbye," Rahim said. "He died angry with me, and I was angry too. But anger becomes poison when the person you hate is gone." He closed his eyes. "This stone is my only way to make peace." The stranger looked at the grave again. The name was still unclear, but something in his heart told him this story was not just Rahim's story. It was part of his own too. "I don't know why I'm here," the stranger said finally, "but I feel like I'm meant to be." Rahim looked at him with deep eyes. "Maybe you are." As the wind moved softly through the trees, and the sky slowly turned orange, two strangers sat beside a grave, one full of memories, the other full of questions, but neither of them knew their connection was stronger than they could imagine. This was not just about the past, it was about a truth buried deep under that silent grave, a truth that was about to rise again. The next day Rahim sat by the same grave, as he always did, but this time, he wasn't alone for long. The stranger returned. He walked slowly through the narrow path of the graveyard, holding 2 cups of tea in his hands. His footsteps were quiet, respectful. He stopped beside Rahim and held out 1 cup. "You," the stranger said softly. "I thought you might need it." Rahim looked up surprised. Then he gave a small nod and accepted the tea. "Thank you," he said. They sat together in silence for a few minutes. The birds chirped around them. The wind moved the tree branches gently. The grave stood between them like a wall made of stone and secrets. The stranger finally spoke. "My name is Sami." Rahim nodded. "I'm Rahim." Another silence passed. Then Somi asked carefully, "Can I ask again? Who is buried here?" Rahim looked at the grave, as if searching for the right words. "His name was Faisal." Sami repeated the name softly. "So." Rahim's eyes became distant, lost in memory. "We met when we were 9, he said. I was the quiet one. He was the loud one. We became like bros. In school we were always together. People thought we were twins, though we didn't look alike." He smiled weakly. Faisal had dreams. Big ones. He wanted to go to the city, become someone important. I just wanted a peaceful life. Sami listened carefully. "We promised each other one thing," Rahim said, his voice softer now. "No matter where life takes us, we would never lie to each other, never betray each other." Sami looked at him. "And did that promise break?" Rahim didn't answer for a while. Then he whispered, "Yes, it did." He ran his fingers over the stone again. "Faisal lied to me. He broke something between us, and I couldn't forgive him. Not then. Sami stayed quiet, sensing there was more to the story. Rahim continued. We fought. I said things I wish I could take back. The next day, he was gone. 2 weeks later, I found out he had died. Sami's eyes widened. What happened? Rahim shook his head. Car accident. Late at night, no one knows why he was driving so fast, but I do. He looked down at his hands. He was running. Away from me. From our fight, Sami felt a strange tightness in his chest. So you come here to say sorry? No, Rahim said. I come here to forgive him, because I think he tried to fix things before he died, but I never gave him the chance. He reached into his coat pocket and took out a small photo. It was faded and old, showing 2 young boys smiling, arms around each other. That's us, Rahim said, showing the photo to Sami before the fight. Before everything went wrong. Sami stared at the photo. His hands trembled slightly. Seen this photo before, he whispered. Rahim looked at him sharply. What? Sami nodded slowly. My mother, she had this photo. She said it was from someone she once knew long ago. Rahim's face went pale. Who is your mother? Sami took a deep breath. Her name was Nayla. Rahim dropped the cup in his hand. It fell to the ground and rolled into the grass. Nayla, he repeated. Faisal loved Nayla. Sami nodded. She loved him too, but they were never allowed to marry. Rahim blinked, stunned. Wait, are you saying? Sami nodded again. Yes. Faisal was my father. Rahim felt like the earth had shifted beneath him. No, it can't be, he said, his voice shaking. I never met him, Sami said. He died before I was born. My mother told me only pieces of the story. She said he had a best friend, and that something terrible happened between them. Tears filled Rahim's eyes. I was that friend. Now everything felt different. This wasn't just a stranger sitting beside him. This was Faisal's, son of the friend he had once loved, then hated, and now mourned. I didn't know he had a child, Rahim said, his voice breaking. He never told me. Sami looked at the grave. I never got to meet him. I used to imagine what he was. Like my mother said, he was kind, but also full of fire. Rahim laughed sadly. That sounds like Faisal. Sami looked back at Rahim. I want to know what happened. The truth. All of it. Rahim stared at the grave for a long moment. Then he whispered, then come back. Tomorrow, I'll tell you everything. They sat in silence once more, side by side. Like the old days though, they were not the same men who once shared a childhood. Now, one carried guilt, and the other carried blood. What happened between Rahim and Faisal? What was the betrayal, and why did Faisal never tell anyone about his son? The answers lay buried beneath the grave. But now, they were slowly rising to the surface, one truth at a time. The next day, the sun rose quietly, and so did old memories. Rahim came early to the grave. But this time, he wasn't alone for long. Sami walked in, carrying a notebook and pen. He wanted to remember everything. Every word, every truth. Rahim gave him a soft smile. You really came. I said I would, Sami replied, sitting beside him. I need to know who my father was from someone who truly knew him. Rahim nodded. Then today, I will tell you. About the beginning, about the time before the pain, before the lies, when everything was still good. The beginning of Rahim and Faisal. Rahim's voice turned gentle as he began. We were only 9 years old when we first met. Faisal had just moved into the village with his parents. He was loud, full of life, always asking questions. I was quiet, shy, afraid to speak to anyone. Rahim smiled, remembering the days of dust and laughter. Our first day of school together, a group of older boys tried to bully me. They pushed me around, laughed at my torn shoes. I just stood there, frozen. He looked at Sami, but then Faisal stepped in. What did he do? Sami asked. Rahim chuckled. He threw a stone at the biggest boy's head and shouted, pick on someone your own size. Then he grabbed my hand and we ran. They both laughed for a moment. That's how our friendship started, Rahim said. He was my shield, and I became his calm. I helped him think before jumping into trouble. He helped me speak when I was too scared. Sami could see it clearly in his mind. 2 boys against the world. Dreams and promises. Rahim continued. As we grew older, we became inseparable. People thought we were real brothers. We shared everything, our food, our books, our secrets. But what did you both want from life? Sami asked. Faisal had big dreams. Rahim replied he wanted to go to the city. He said, one day I'll have a car, a big job, and people will finally respect me. And you? Sami asked. I only wanted peace. A simple life, a small shop, a good family. I didn't care about cities or money. Rahim looked at the grave again, but that never caused any fights between us. We respected each other's dreams. We made one promise though, no matter how different our paths. We'd never lie, never betray. Sami wrote that down. Never lie, never betray. Yes, Rahim nodded. That promise was everything to us. The girl who changed everything. Sami noticed Rahim's smile fading, but then Rahim said slowly, everything changed. The day she came. Who? Sami asked, already guessing. Your mother, Rahim said. Nayla. Sami felt his chest tighten. She was beautiful, kind, and full of light, Rahim said. She joined our school when we were about 16, and just like that, we both fell for her. You both loved her? Sami asked. Rahim nodded, ashamed. Yes, but we never said it out loud. We both kept it hidden. I thought maybe Faisal would give up. He always had other girls around. I was the one who truly loved her, but he didn't give up, Sami guessed. Rahim looked away. No. One day, I saw them together, laughing, holding hands. He took a deep breath. My heart broke, but I didn't say anything. I told myself, if she's happy, that's enough. But I started pulling away from Faisal. I felt betrayed, even though he hadn't lied. He just chose not to tell me. Sami frowned. So that was the first crack. Yes, Rahim whispered. That was when our perfect friendship started to fade. The secret engagement. Rahim's voice turned darker now. A year later, Faisal came to me with tears in his eyes. He said his parents were against the relationship. They wanted him to marry someone else. What did he do? Sami asked. Begged me to help him, Rahim said. He said, you're the only one who understands me. Talk to my father, please. And did you? I did. Rahim nodded. I tried, but his father yelled at me, said Faisal had gone mad for a poor girl. Sami lowered his head. My mother. Rahim looked at him gently. Your mother was never the problem. It was their pride, their class, their ego, he continued. And Nayla decided to run away together. He told me his plan one night. He begged me not to tell anyone, and I didn't. But something went wrong, Sami asked. Rahim's hands trembled. Yes, the night they were supposed to leave, I waited for Faisal near the station, but he never came. The breaking point. Rahim's eyes filled with tears. I went to his house, and I saw him, sitting with his father, silent, cold. He looked like a stranger. What happened? Sami asked. He backed out, Rahim said, anger in his voice now. He told his father he would end it, that he didn't want to bring shame. Sami's heart dropped. He didn't even tell your mother. She waited all night at the station, alone in the dark. Rahim clenched his jaw. She cried for days. She left the village soon after, and I broke. Sami could feel his body shaking. She never told me all this. She didn't want you to hate him, Rahim said softly. But I did. I hated him. I told him he was a coward, a liar. I told him I never wanted to see his face again. And then, Sami whispered 2 weeks later, Rahim said, tears falling. He died in that car crash. Sami said nothing. He couldn't. His heart was torn in pieces. Rahim placed the photo between them again. I come here, he whispered, because I never got to say sorry. I never asked why he backed out. Maybe he was scared. Maybe he had no choice. But I judged him too fast. Sami looked at the grave. My father made mistakes, he said slowly, but so did everyone else. Maybe. We all did what we thought was right. Rahim nodded. That's why I come here, to forgive him, and to forgive myself. Sami stood up, brushing off the dust. I think I need to visit my mother, he said. There's more I need to know. Rahim looked at him. And you'll come back? Sami gave a firm nod. Yes, I want to hear everything. As he walked away, the wind carried the sound of soft leaves moving, and a broken friendship trying to mend through stories, memories, and the love of a son searching for truth. Sami did not return the next day, or the day after. Rahim came to the graveyard like always, sat beside the stone, and waited. He didn't talk much this time. He only looked at the gravestone with tired eyes. I told him everything, Rahim whispered, but I think it was too much. The wind blew softly. The leaves danced across the old path. The silence around him felt heavy. 3 days later, Sami finally came back. He looked tired. His eyes were red, like he hadn't slept much, but he had something in his hands, an old torn envelope. I found this in my mother's box, he said. It was hidden under old clothes. It's a letter from my father. Rahim sat up straighter, his eyes widened. A letter. Sami nodded. She never gave it to me. Maybe she couldn't. But now, I want you to read it. He handed it to Rahim with shaking hands. The letter from the past. Rahim opened the envelope. Slowly. Inside was a piece of paper, yellow with age. The handwriting was rough, but still clear. He read the words aloud, his voice cracking. Dear Nayla, I'm sorry. I don't expect you to forgive me. That night, I wanted to come. I swear I did. But my father, he locked me in the room. He took my phone. He told me if I left, he would destroy your family. I chose the wrong thing. I stayed, and I lost you. I lost everything. Rahim paused, his eyes wet. Please tell Rahim. I didn't lie to him. I never meant to. He was the best friend I ever had. I was too ashamed to face him. I know he hates me, but I hope, after I'm gone, he'll remember the boy who once threw a stone to protect him. Rahim lowered the letter. His hands were shaking. He whispered, he was trapped. Sami sat down beside him, eyes full of emotion. My mother told me everything. After she found out what happened, she never blamed him. She just moved on, quietly. Rahim looked up at the sky. All these years, he said, I carried hate in my heart. I thought he chose pride over love, but he chose fear over everything. The night the promise broke, Rahim closed his eyes. I remember that night like it happened yesterday. I was standing at the train station, holding his bag, waiting. His voice lowered. I waited for 3 hours. I thought maybe something went wrong. Maybe he'd come late, but he never came. He looked at Sami. I thought he lied to both of us. I went to his house, ready to fight. I saw him sitting with his father, face cold, eyes empty, like he had already given up. "What did you say to him?" Sami asked. "I shouted," Rahim said bitterly. "I told him I never wanted to see him again. I said he was dead to me." He sighed deeply. "That was the last time I saw him." Sami looked at the grave. "And 2 weeks later?" Rahim nodded slowly. 2 weeks later, he drove into a tree at midnight, alone. No one knew why. There was a long silence between them. Then Rahim spoke again. "Now I do." He couldn't forgive himself. He lost the girl he loved. He lost me, and maybe he lost himself. A visit from the pastas. The two sat quietly. A woman appeared at the edge of the graveyard. She wore a long shawl and walked slowly. Her steps were careful, almost afraid. Sami turned and stood up. "Mother?" It was Nayla. She had aged, but her eyes still carried that deep softness. She looked at Rahim with a trembling smile. "May I?" she asked. Rahim nodded. She knelt beside the grave. Her fingers touched the stone gently. "I haven't been here in many years. I'm sorry," Rahim said softly. "For everything." Nayla shook her head. "No, I'm sorry. You lost a friend? I lost the man I loved. We were all young and broken." She took a flower from her bag and placed it on the grave. "You know," she said, "he wrote me many letters, but I only kept this one, the one for you. I hoped that someday it would reach you." Rahim smiled weakly. "Thank you." She stood up slowly. "You both carry his memory now. Don't carry his pain." She kissed Sami on the forehead. "I'll wait in the car." As she walked away, the two men turned back to the grave. "Making peace? I blamed him for too long," Rahim said. "But in the end, maybe I betrayed him, too?" Sami looked at him. "You didn't know. You were hurt." Rahim nodded. "Yes, but now I know. And I will never sit here again with anger in my heart." He stood up, brushing the dust from his knees. "Faisal, I'm sorry. I should have trusted you more." He looked at Sami. "And I'm sorry to you too, for hiding your father's story in my silence." Sami stood beside him. "Now, we tell it together." As they walked away from the grave, the wind blew gently through the trees. The old pain was still there, but something had changed. The promise that once broke had now been forgiven. The sun was setting behind the hills as Rahim and Sami walked away from the graveyard. The sky was painted orange and purple. A cool breeze passed through the trees, as if the wind was listening to everything they said. For a while they didn't speak. The silence between them was no longer cold, it was peaceful, healing, but deep inside Sami's heart, a storm was building. He had told Rahim everything, or almost everything. Now, it was his turn to reveal a truth that had stayed buried. For years, a long drive, a heavy heart that evening, Rahim invited Sami to his small house. It was simple, quiet, filled with old books and photos that spoke of a life full of memories and silence. They sat in the front room. Rahim poured tea for both of them. The steam rose slowly from the cups. "I feel like I can breathe again," Rahim said. "For years, I lived with guilt. But today, I feel lighter." Sami looked at him, eyes full of something he had been holding back. "There's something I need to tell you, Rahim." Rahim paused. "What is it?" Sami held the cup tightly in his hands. "I didn't come to this village by accident." Rahim frowned. "What do you mean?" Sami took a deep breath. "All my life, I wanted to know the truth about my father. I searched for people who knew him. For years I found nothing. But 6 months ago, I found your name in an old letter. My mother had hidden it." Rahim was quiet. "I read that you used to be his best friend," Sami continued. "But I also read something else." He reached into his coat and pulled out another envelope, this one with Rahim's name written on it. "I wasn't supposed to read it," Sami said, "but I did." Rahim took the envelope slowly, his hands trembling. Inside was a letter from Nayla. The letter of doubt. Rahim opened it carefully. He read the words silently at first, then out loud. "Rahim, if you are reading this, it means my son has found you. There is something I never told him, something I never told anyone. The night Faisal didn't show up at the station, I thought he had betrayed me, but the next day, you came to me. You said he was a coward. You told me to forget him, and I did. For years, I believed you. I believed you had seen Faisal give up, but later, I began to wonder. Did Faisal really betray us? Or were you trying to protect me from pain? Or were you trying to keep me for yourself?" Rahim stopped reading. His eyes were wide. "She thought I lied," he whispered. Sami looked down. She never said it clearly. She wasn't sure, but the doubt lived inside her. Rahim's voice broke. "I never lied to her. I never tried to take her from him." Sami nodded. "I believe you. But for a long time, I didn't know what to believe. A son torn between stories. I came here," Sami said slowly, "not just to find answers, but to find someone to blame." Rahim looked at him, hurt. "You thought it was me?" Sami nodded. "At first, yes. I thought maybe you hated my father so much that you made sure my mother would never forgive him." Rahim closed his eyes, the pain too strong. "I loved your father like a brother. Even when we fought, I never stopped loving him. I see that now," Sami said softly. "But before I came here, all I had were half-truths and broken letters." Rahim looked up. "What changed your mind?" "You," Sami replied. "The way you talk to his grave. The way you cry. The way you bring flowers. No one fakes that kind of pain." There was a long silence, then Rahim said, I forgive you. Sumi looked surprised. Rahim smiled gently. You were searching for truth, and I was hiding in the past. Now, we're both free. One last secret. Sami stood and walked to the window. There's one more thing. Rahim waited. My mother said before she left the village, she was pregnant. But she didn't tell anyone, not even your family. Rahim nodded. I didn't know, she said. If Faisal had come that night, we would have all left together. I would have grown up with both parents, but that dream died. Rahim walked to Sami slowly. Your father loved her. He would have stayed if he could. I truly believe that now. Sami looked back at him. I believe it too. The pain that connects. They sat together again. Rahim said, I don't think graves are for the dead. They're for the living. For use to speak, to cry, to forgive. Sami nodded. Do you think he's listening? Rahim smiled. He always was. They both looked out at the sky. The stars had started to appear, one by one. Sami said, for a long time, I didn't know where I belonged. But now I feel like I've found a part of my family. Rahim touched his shoulder. You have. You're not alone anymore. Tomorrow's plan is, they finished their tea. Sami looked at Rahim and said, let's go back tomorrow, to the grave. Rahim asked. Sami nodded. Together? One last time. I want to say goodbye to him properly. Rahim smiled. We'll go together. Outside, the night was quiet, but inside that small house, two hearts had started to heal. The pain was still there, but it no longer controlled them. For the first time in years, Rahim would sleep without guilt, and for the first time ever, Sami would sleep knowing who his father truly was. The next morning, the sky was bright, and the air felt strangely peaceful. Rahim and Sami walked together toward the graveyard. Neither of them spoke much. Their footsteps were slow, quiet. Each step felt like a goodbye. Rahim carried a small wooden box in his hands. Sami noticed but didn't ask what was inside. They reached the grave, the same one Rahim had been visiting for years. But today, it felt different. Today, they weren't coming with pain. They were coming with truth. Rahim's final gift knelt beside the grave like always. He brushed away the leaves. Then, he gently placed the wooden box on the ground and opened it. Inside were small items. Carefully kept an old friendship bracelet made of red thread. A school photo of him and Faisal as boys. A dried flower jasmine, Faisal's favorite. A tiny notebook with worn-out pages. Sami knelt beside him, eyes on the items. These were his? Sami asked. Rahim nodded. Things I kept all these years. I couldn't throw them away. He picked up the notebook and handed it to Sami. Open it. Sami turned the pages slowly. Inside were little stories, written in childish handwriting. Faisal's dream, to be a big man in the city. Rahim's dream, to have a quiet shop. Our dream, to always stay together. Sami's hands trembled. His father had written about dreams he never got to live. Rahim closed the box. I'm leaving this here today. I've carried these memories for too long. Now they belong to him. The hidden letter. Sami looked at the grave. Rahim, I found one more letter, hidden in the back of my mother's book. Rahim looked up, surprised. Sami took out a small folded paper from his coat. It's from my father, but this one was addressed to you. Rahim's eyes filled with tears before he even read it. He opened the letter and read aloud. Rahim, I know I broke our promise. I know you hate me, but please know, I never stopped loving you as my brother. When I was locked in that room, all I thought about was you. I thought, what will Rahim think of me? That pain hurt more than losing. Nayla, if this letter ever reaches you, please forgive me, and remember me, not as the man who failed, but as the boy who once stood beside you, and would have done anything to protect you. Rahim folded the letter slowly. His hands shook. His lips trembled. I never knew, he whispered. Sami put a hand on his shoulder. Now you do. Digging up the past, they sat in silence for a while. Then Sami looked at the ground. Do you ever wonder what's really under this stone? Rahim nodded. Not the body, but the truth, the real story, his heart, his thoughts, his regrets. Sami whispered. Sometimes I imagine, maybe he left something behind, something no one ever found. Rahim looked at him. What do you mean? My mother told me, Sami said slowly, that before he died, my father went to a friend's house. He left something in a small tin box. Said it was just in case. Rahim's eyes lit up. I remember that day he came to me, but I didn't open the door. Sami nodded. Maybe that box is still somewhere. Rahim stood up. We need to find it. The hidden box. They went to Rahim's old family home, the one that had been closed for years. Dust covered the windows. The wooden door creaked as they pushed it open. They walked to the back room, Faisal's favorite spot when he used to visit. It was dark and quiet. A few broken shelves, an old mat, and a dusty cupboard. Rahim started searching. He opened the drawers. Sami checked the corners. Then, behind a loose floor tile, Sami found something. A box, he called out. It was small, metal, and locked. They broke the old lock gently, and opened it. Inside were a photo of Faisal, Nayla, and Rahim together, smiling. A short recording tape, a folded letter labeled for the one, I failed. They stared at it, both shaken. Faisal's voice lives again later. That night, they played the tape using an old recorder. A crackling sound came first. Then voice, if you're hearing this, it means I couldn't fix what I broke, Rahim. I'm sorry, I was scared but I didn't forget you. I kept the photo because it reminded me of the only time I was truly happy, Sami. If you ever hear this, I want you to know I didn't leave because I didn't love you. I left because I didn't want the world to hurt you the way it hurt me." Rahim broke down in tears. Sami closed his eyes, letting the voice of his father fill the room. Faisal was gone, but his truth was alive, a new beginning the next morning. They returned to the grave with the box and the tape. Rahim placed them gently beside the headstone. "We found your voice," he said. "We found your truth," Sami added. "And now, we carry it forward." They stood in silence for a while. Then Sami whispered, "Let's leave this pain here. Under this stone." Rahim nodded. "Yes, let's bury it with love." As they turned to walk away, the sun rose behind them brighter than ever. The past had been dug up, understood, and forgiven, and now, the future could begin. 2 days had passed since Rahim and Sami discovered the hidden box, the old photo, and the recording. But something still felt unfinished. Rahim couldn't sleep that night. The voice on the tape had been a gift. It brought back memories he had buried deep for years. But it also raised new questions about things Faisal never said in person. And then, something happened. While going through his old cupboard, Rahim found an envelope taped to the back of a photo frame. It was old, dusty, and forgotten. Written on it, in faded ink, were just 4 words: "To be opened last." The handwriting was Faisal's, a message from the past. The next morning, Rahim and Sami returned to the grave. This time Rahim carried only one thing, the final letter. He held it with both hands carefully. "Are you ready?" he asked. Sami nodded. "Yes. I think this is the moment we've been waiting for." Rahim sat down beside the grave like always. Sami sat beside him. Rahim opened the envelope slowly. Inside was a letter, folded once. The paper was delicate, like it could tear with a breath. Rahim began to read aloud. "To my brother Rahim, if this letter has found you, it means the truth has reached you too. It means you know I didn't run away, that I didn't stop loving you. I was weak. Yes, I was scared. I didn't fight hard enough. And I paid for it with my future, with my love, and with our friendship. But I don't want this letter to be full of sorrow. I want it to be full of memory. Do you remember the night we climbed the water tower and counted stars? Or the time we ran away from school just to eat mangoes by the river? Those were the happiest days of my life. I never told you this, but you were the best part of me. Rahim, you were my calm, my balance. You always helped me see right from wrong. I wish I could go back to the day I disappointed you. I wish I could shout through the locked door and tell you that I was still your brother. But I couldn't, and the world moved on, except you didn't. I know you sat by my grave. I know you brought flowers. I know you cried. I felt it. Somehow I did. And now, I leave this last wish. Rahim, let my son Sami live without the burden we carried. Give him stories, not sorrow. Tell him who I was, not what I failed to be. And most of all, live. Forgive yourself. And live a life full of peace. The one you always dreamed of, because if you do, I will rest in peace too. With love always. Tears, silence, and peace by the end of the letter. Both Rahim and Sami were crying. The grave stood quiet beside them, but the air felt different, as if the message had lifted something heavy from the ground. Rahim folded the letter and placed it gently at the foot of the grave. "He knew," Rahim whispered. "He always knew I would come back." Sami nodded. "He never gave up on you, even after death." Rahim smiled through tears. "And now, I won't give up on him, or myself." A father remembered. Sami pulled out a small journal from his bag. "I've been writing," he said. "All the things you told me, about my father, about you, about the truth." Rahim looked surprised. "A book, maybe one day," Sami said. "But for now, it's for me, to remember who he really was." He showed Rahim a page. At the top it said, "Faisal, more than a mistake." Rahim read the words slowly, his heart filled with warmth. "You're doing what?" he asked. Rahim said, "Giving him a new name." Sami nodded. "And giving myself a new start." One last visit that evening. They came back one more time, just before sunset. Rahim brought fresh flowers. Sami brought a white stone with something carved on it. They placed both at the grave. The stone said, "Faisal, a brother, a father, a dreamer." Sami whispered, "Goodbye." Rahim whispered, "Goodbye, my friend." The sky was golden, the breeze gentle. The grave no longer looked like a place of sorrow. It looked like a place of memory, of healing, of peace. Walking away together, as they walked back along the dusty path, Sami asked, "What now?" Rahim smiled. "Now, we live." Sami nodded. "And we carry him not as pain, but as love." Rahim looked up at the sky. Some goodbyes are not the end. They're just the beginning of a new chapter. And together, they walked into that chapter, side by side, not as strangers, but as family. 1 week had passed since the final letter. Rahim no longer visited the grave every morning. He no longer carried flowers and shaking hands. Instead, he woke up, watered his plants, opened the windows of his small house, and breathed like a man who had been asleep for years, and was finally awake. Sami still came by often. They sat on the porch, shared tea, and spoke of the past, not with pain, but with peace. The weight that had sat between them was gone. But now, something new had begun. An unexpected letter one morning, Sami arrived holding an envelope. This time, it wasn't old or dusty, it was new, clean. His name was written on it, but the handwriting was not his father's. "It's from the lawyer," Sami explained. "My mother asked him to deliver it to me once I finished the journey." Rahim looked surprised. "Another letter." Sami nodded. "This one is her goodbye." He opened it slowly and began to read. "My dearest Sami, by the time you read this, you will have already walked paths I never could. You found the grave. You found Rahim, and maybe you found forgiveness. I'm proud of you. I want to say something I couldn't say all these years. I never hated your father. I only feared what pain would do to both of us. But I want you to know he loved you, deeply, fiercely. And Rahim, he was not the enemy. He was part of our story. So if you're reading this next to him, know this. You are my son, but you are also your father's legacy. Carry both with pride and live freely. With all my love, your Amma." The end of one journey. After reading the letter, Sami sat quietly, looking out at the trees. Rahim didn't speak. He just waited. Finally, Sami said, "I feel like both and my parents have said goodbye now." Rahim looked at him warmly. "And they left something behind." "What's that?" Sami asked. Rahim smiled. "You." Sami blinked, touched by those simple words. "You carry their hearts," Rahim continued. "You are the bridge between two broken stories, and you've mended both." The dream returns one day. Rahim brought out an old notebook. It was dusty, with cracked pages and dried ink. "What's this?" Sami asked. Rahim smiled. "It's our dream list. Faisal and I wrote it when we were kids." He opened it and showed the list. "Climb the water tower, open a small shop, see the sea, ride a train without tickets, stay friends forever." Sami laughed. "How many did you do?" Rahim chuckled. 2, maybe 3. But we never saw the sea." Sami closed the book slowly. "Then let's go." Rahim looked at him. "What?" "Let's complete the list," Sami said. "For you, for him, for all of us." The final goodbye. A few days later, they stood at the edge of the sea. Waves crashed gently at their feet. The sun dipped low behind the water, orange and gold. Rahim looked out at the horizon. "I never thought I'd see this." Sami smiled. "And now you have." Rahim took out a small paper boat from his bag. On it, he had written one word: peace. He placed it in the water and watched it float. Sami took out a second boat. His said, love. They watched both boats drift away, side by side like two friends finally letting go. A new chapter back in the village. Life went on. But something had changed. Rahim opened the small shop he once dreamed of. It wasn't big or fancy. Just a tiny place by the corner where he sold tea, books, and smiles. Sami started writing, turning the story of his father, his mother, and Rahim into a book. One day, he would share it with the world. But for now, they lived quietly, simply, together.